What's up, guys? This is a special interview today with a massive eBay seller, over 10,000 items listed, over 12,000 when we talk to her. She has literally written a book about reselling on eBay and does it full time, and I think you can learn a lot from her. Let's dive into this interview now. Okay, so here with Anna.
Yes, hello.
At the prep for the eBay Seller Open.
Yes.
And found out that you have 12,000 active listings.
Yes, I do.
On eBay, which gives me a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So it's you and one other person?
For the most part, yeah. I actually technically have 3 contractors, but 2 of them are just like super sporadic part-time, and they're awesome, but everyone kind of does a little bit of a different thing, and so sometimes I'll have work for them and sometimes not, but I have one wing woman contractor who works pretty much as I do, and so it's kind of a 2-person team at this point, with including myself.
Okay, so basically 2 people, 12,000 items.
Yeah, right.
So you sell kind of everything, right?
Yeah, it's very miscellaneous.
Okay.
Actually, the word miscellaneous is in the title of my store, so that's intentional. But yeah, I guess I got this store to basically between 5,000 or 6,000 items by myself, and then once I hired Amanda, who's my BFF and sister-in-law and my beloved contractor that I'm referring to.
That's awesome.
We took the store, that was like probably mid-2020, that it was 5,000 to 6,000, and now it's like over 12,000. So like it was just adding her that really like made us soar into that, because there was just no possible way I could have listed that much by myself over like the course of that time. So because we've been selling stuff the whole time too, so actually we've listed over 20,000 items, like, because a lot of them have sold, fortunately. So that's the goal.
Yes.
But yeah, that was really what took it to the next level. So
yeah, so at the end of the day, it is what sells that matters.
Oh yeah.
But have you, when you had it to 5,000 or 6,000 items, have you like noticed now that you have 12,000 that sales have like roughly doubled, or does the scale not work that way?
No, and it's really interesting because that was also, I'm trying to think of the timeline there, probably 6 months before 6 to 9 months before I hired her was when I went full time. And so before I went full time, I had like 3 years of data that led me to believe that like it would roughly double, since like if the inventory roughly doubled, the revenue would roughly double. But then COVID happened, and like all of my numbers got pretty wonky, and things were increasingly like less predictable. So sales has not quite doubled, but I will say that over the course of this year so far, it's coming back. It's coming back closer to like close that gap. It's not quite there yet, but during all of the uncertainty, we were like, well, the only answer is more cowbell. Not really more cowbell, but the only answer is more listings. So we were just like, our cost of goods is really low. We have we have access to like more stuff than we could ever hope to list anyway. So we're like, we may as well just keep on building the large base of inventory, and eventually when things get normal again-ish, or regulate some and are more predictable again, we'll just have a bigger base of, even if we have a lower sell-through, we'll have a larger base to sell through.
Stuff that's already there.
Yeah, and so we just kept doing what we were doing, kept refining our processes, kept sourcing, and it's been fine. Like, it's worked out. I do hope that it does get back to that sort of level, what it looked like it would be. Those 3 years of data kind of told us that it would be where it's like, if we double this amount, then the revenue should also double with it. But we'll see. Like, I think it's it's closing the gap some. So maybe by the end of this year, we'll have a lot clearer of a picture about it. But
I hear you on the unpredictable.
Oh
data.
Man, it was so funny, because from month to month, I mean, like, people would ask me like, how's your store doing? And I'm like, well, honestly, it was like weirdly awesome last month, but right now it's abysmal, and I don't really know why. Like, so I feel like 2021 was like really bad for that, and it was just like, there's so many factors, and it's hard to like tease them all out. But I think mainly it's just like, what we're doing is working, and if it works, at a smaller sell-through, it'll work even better at a higher one. So hopefully we can get back to that. But even if we can't, like, it's still gonna work. So
what you're doing that's working, what are like top 3 things that you would say you do consistently that have helped your business?
Yeah, so I feel like the answer is a lot more about process than content. So like certainly just having a really well thought out process that works for like your individual situation, I think is really important. Like I'm always kind of singing that from the rooftops because, you know, even like through changes with sourcing and integrating like another person into my workflow who does basically everything but shipping. Like she can do anything I can do, except I haven't taught her about shipping yet.
Okay.
Just because logistically it doesn't make sense. She doesn't live super near to me, so, or where the inventory is stored.
Gotcha.
So I still just do all of that because of logistics. But like being able to have processes that, you know, are really replicable and that are streamlined, like there's just like little things that I think, again, like the process of kind of getting your system down is like, that's number 1, 2, and 3 of the things that are the most important. you know, like.
So walk me through.
Yeah.
You get an item in. What happens from there to the point where it gets into your inventory management system?
Magic happens.
That's what I like to hear.
That's where the magic happens. Well, it does kind of depend. So depending on like how we're sourcing, that has a little bit of influence, but generally speaking, how that works now is, let's just say that I'm sourcing. I still do most of the sourcing, but Amanda does some of it too.
Okay.
But let's just, for simplicity, we'll say, okay, I've gone to, you know, pick up a carload of stuff from an estate auction. So I'll bring that stuff into my house and I will kind of batch process it. I'll clean it up. I'll organize it into bins. I'll sort of count it, you know, just like log it into my spreadsheet, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then those bins are like ready to go. I take them to Amanda. She photographs them and creates the drafts and sometimes does some research. She, you know, preliminary title, like that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then when she's done with all of that, she gives it back to me. The bins are numbered already. Like all of that information is logged in the spreadsheet. And so we meet up every couple of weeks and we swap bins. So I'm giving her new stuff and she's giving me processed stuff. So then when the processed stuff is back with me, because it, you know, the storage lives near where I live. So if something sells immediately, I have to be able to go pull it and ship it. So I don't actually officially list it till I have it back in my custody. So, so I get all that stuff back from her and then I just go and make all the drafts live and, you know, tuck it neatly away into some highly organized storage units. And then when it sells, I pull it every, you know, a couple times a week, pull stuff that sells and ship it out from my garage.
Love it.
Yeah.
Do you list daily consistently?
No.
Okay.
I would like to.
Okay. So
But-
you list when you can.
When I can, yeah. I
You
try.
do as much as you have.
Yes, and I try to not, I do like kind of spread it out. So like right now, I have 150 drafts sitting there and I try not to go like more than a couple days skipping my listing for the day. You know, a lot of times I won't list on one of the days of the weekend or something, but I try to be like, okay, 5 out of 7 days I'm listing, you know, at least like 10 or 20 things or something like that until I run out. You know, sometimes I'll run out of drafts before I'm swapping bins with her. So
Gotcha.
then I'm like, oh, well, I guess I have a couple days of like lag time.
Okay.
But
And do you end old listings and sell similar?
I do.
You do.
I sure do.
And that helps.
It does help. And I only recently started doing that.
Okay.
So, and it helped a lot.
What made you start doing that?
My eBay growth advisor told me to.
Who is your eBay growth advisor? Are they public?
I don't know. It was great. And so I was like, I wanna take advantage of all the things. Like I'm gonna show up to all of those and like learn what I can. And so at the very tail end of that, they were just like, hey, like PS, if anyone's interested in like some one-on-one account, like assessment and, you know, guidance, it's like a 12-week program where you get assigned someone and they're looking at your analytics, they're helping you to get, you know, you kind of pick on certain metrics and try to improve them. And then you get to learn from them like why it's working over time. So they'll be like, okay, let's do this for these like next 2 or 3 weeks. I want you to like do this thing slightly different and we'll see how it changes the numbers. And so then they kind of dive into it with you in your own back end of your store and it's really cool. But, you know, it was a lot of kind of like, okay, behind the curtain, like, does this thing actually work? Does it matter if I do this versus doing that? Like, why can't I relist this and need to sell similar instead? What's the mechanism there? And like, they would tell me that stuff. And I'm like, why don't all sellers know about this? Like,
Yes.
once again, like
It's needed.
we're having that conversation, but
Objective measures.
Right.
Okay, so lastly, do you send
Yeah.
offers daily?
I do.
Okay.
I do. As much as I can, I will put them on automatically send. You know, you can
Didn't
switch.
know you could do that.
Yes. Okay. So you can do that.
There we go.
You can do that. I think it may only be in the app or it's only when you send them one at a time. So like if I'm on my laptop and I'm just, you know, in my seller dashboard thing and I select, you know, here's 30 I can send today and I select them all and send them, that's a one-time send. But in the app, if you individually open them to send offers, that's a pain, 30 of them. But there's a toggle you can switch on that says always send this offer. So it will just, anytime a watcher is on that item, it'll resend that same offer.
So you have to do that per item still, but
yes,
once
but
you do
only
it,
do
it
it
sends
once.
it all
Right,
the time.
Right. Which I didn't know for a long time either.
Do you do that in the listing process or after?
It's after.
It has to be after.
It has to be after because it's like some kind of an interested party. You know, I don't know if it's only watchers or maybe also the heavy
wondered that too.
heavy
They
browsers
They
or whatever.
viewed it or whatever.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Lastly, do you promote your listings, and if so, what percent?
Yeah, I'm totally shooting in the dark about that because that was a growth advisor thing I hadn't gotten quite to. But I do promote them. I think I have everything at like a maximum of 5% or something right now, just across my whole store. Because I'm like, I don't know, I would take an offer for 5% less, basically on anything.
100%.
So I'm like, I might as well just see. But I really haven't dug into the metrics or the analytics of like where that's helping me and where it's not. So I mean, I may do like the lowest percent you can do just for good measure.
2%.
Right, but. I don't know. I'm intending to find more about that this week.
Yeah, I want to know if it makes a difference.
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
Well, and I learned some stuff about that last night, but like that basically that helps you more. It's more than putting you in the rank search results in the search page. It puts you in the like see items that are similar kind of thing, like when someone's viewing a listing. And so that's really what you're paying for apparently. But like for all of my stuff, it's just not, there's not like a whole bunch of most of the things that are in my store. So I'm like, does it even matter? Because if someone's really searching for this and it's so specific, like, does it need that?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if that helps it get to the person who's looking for it sooner or not.
Yeah.
So-
For us, it's 70% of our impressions come from promoted at 2%.
Right.
2.1.
Yeah.
I do 2.1 because I want to beat all the 2%ers.
You're like, yeah, right. Well,
yeah.
do you ever use the one that's like, well, it's, you know, here's the maximum and then I'm willing to go above or below the recommended,
No,
or do you
I
just
don't.
do a flat rate?
I ignore the recommended completely.
Yeah, I feel like it's
Obviously, they want to get it as high as possible.
right.
But,
We recommend. Yeah.
That's why I'm wondering if
30%.
if the ads team will give us
Yeah,
real
I'm sure
answers
you
for
would.
that. I'm curious.
Oh my gosh, right? Ads lunch is going to be real interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, reselling in a recession.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts? Is it possible? What strategies would you have for that?
Yeah, so I think it's a really good time for me and anyone who has a store or who is reselling to just take a moment, and if there's anything else you can tighten up and streamline about your processes, like that's the time. I mean, I've already kind of thought through it for myself, and like we're gonna do what we've been doing and we're gonna keep on listing. And you know, I actually sort of learned all about how to do a large inventory eBay store from other sellers who started their business during a huge recession. And and that's what they kind of said, like, dang, if this can like work so well in a recession, then it's got to be great the rest of the time. And so I'm not too worried about it because I feel like I don't know, like obviously not all recessions are created equal, I guess, but the fact that you could start this kind of business and, you know, grow and be successful in the middle of one just gives me a lot of comfort, I guess. And like, I'm like, we can weather it, you know?
Perfect.
I'm sure there will be challenges, but the more efficient you are and kind of the more you're just committed to the long term, I think it's okay. You know, it's going to be temporary.
So Anna,
Yes.
thank you for answering questions.
Thank you for asking me
Experienced
questions.
eBay seller full time.
Yeah.
And where can people find you or your store?
Yes, well, my store is called Anesthetic Miscellany, or Miscellany, if you prefer two
You'll have to
pronunciations.
send us how to spell that.
I
Or the link or
seriously.
something.
Get your number so you can text me. A couple
Okay,
times.
great.
Yeah,
I never thought I would have to say it out loud when I chose it, so sorry about that.
that's awesome.
But that's the main place that you can find me. I do have an Instagram account for it that I barely use, but it's the same name. And
Perfect.
sometimes I'll post fun stuff in my stories about, if I'm pulling stuff for shipping or sourcing or whatever. So I'm on there sometimes. It's just for
Right
fun. But I also wrote a book about how I run my store and why I actually stepped out of a whole career to do this full time. And it's called Miscellaneous by Anna Packer, which is myself. And of course you can buy it from my eBay store, always, but you can also buy it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, like anywhere there are books. But online, like you can walk into a Barnes & Noble and buy it, I assume. But you can purchase it from them online, yeah.
Very awesome.
Yeah, so check that out if you want to know a million details about how I was running my store when I went full time.
All right. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
How to find 12,000 items.
Yeah, there are plenty of items out there. I'll just say that for the record, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's
Cool.
Great.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Appreciate that.